Hello, everyone. My name is Todd Moster. I am a franchise consultant. And what a franchise consultant does is we work with people because there are almost 6,000 different franchises out there, and not everyone is for everyone. And if you go through 6,000 franchises, it'll literally take you years to figure out what's good for you. So what a franchise consultant does is he or she works with a budding entrepreneur who wants to start a new business, asks a lot of questions, gets to know them, and then tries to find a franchise that is a good fit for them. And now we're having this discussion in a very interesting time in American history. We're in a forced recession that's been caused by the COVID-19 epidemic. So there are a lot of businesses that are not doing well. On the other hand, there are some businesses that continue to do well even during this time. They're called recession-resistant, and some of them are even COVID-resistant. So while some businesses are declining, and especially the mom and pops around the country, there are some that are very, very busy, and that includes franchises. And that's why I'm very happy today to introduce Gary Landon. Gary Landon is from a company called Neighborly, which has several franchises which all surround helping people in their home. And he represents a particularly popular franchise in that area that's called Mr. Appliance. So with that, I'd like to introduce Gary Landon. Gary, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Todd. It's a pleasure to be here from our corporate headquarters here in Waco, Texas. We're 2 hours south of Dallas, 2 hours north of Austin, and been around here for, our Neighborly has since 1981. Mr. Appliance has been around since 1996, and things are going very well for Mr. Appliance right now since we're as you said, recession resistant, and we have been declared an essential service franchise or business in the United States. So look forward to talking and answering any questions you have today.
Thank you, Gary. And I'll start with essential business because that's a term that probably none of us had heard about a year ago. What does essential business mean?
Yes, it means that the government feels that people need what we do out in the marketplace. So Mr. Appliance, to kind of sum it up out of the gate here, we repair all major household appliances. And we now have over 300 locations in North America, taking care of the home appliance needs, a little bit of the commercial need. And then we also do dryer vent cleaning on dryers that are getting clogged up with lint and such, and that's highly flammable. In fact, you probably know this, Todd, the #1 cause of residential fires in the United States is a dirty dryer vent. Now, what does that look like throughout the United States and parts of Canada? It looks like each residence has, on average, 6 to 8 major household appliances. And of course, as you know, we're at a different place in American history that people can't eat out at their favorite restaurants at all we've got 50% full, you can't come in, or whatever the situation is. So people are having to eat at home. And, we consider what we do is taking care of the heart of the kitchen, or the heart of the home, I should say, with repairing the things in the kitchen and all those 6 to 8 major household appliances. So people that were accustomed to eating out all the time now are eating at home. They may have had a stove or oven or whatever that had been broken for months, and now they're forced to repair it and to cook because again, they can't eat out like they would like to.
And what are some of the other commonly used appliances that Mr. Appliance takes care of?
Sure. So the washer, the dryer, the stove, the dishwasher, the garbage disposal, which is kind of overlooked in the whole world of things. The refrigerator, most people have an additional freezer or something like that. The entry-level price for a new appliance is $400 and up. So any appliance $400 and up are what our owners tend to repair, unless it's a special situation. It's built into the wall fixture in the kitchen or whatever, and so it's either get it repaired or it's going to be mega dollars to get another one or something like that.
But I think the people who are watching this are entrepreneurs or would be entrepreneurs who are interested in franchises. So if you could explain a little bit about what's involved in being a franchise owner with Mr. Appliance.
Well, 85% of our owners come from other industries right now because you mentioned it is a super needed service right now. And right now, we are one of the fastest growing neighborly brands. You mentioned that Mr. Appliance is under the umbrella of the Neighborly brands. Neighborly is the one-stop shop for home services. Globally, we've got 25 brands. In North America, we've got 15 brands. And all of our brands focus on the same customer, residential and light commercial. And our services are needed services, and our services are repetitive services. Our customers use our services again and again and again. So right now, Mr. Appliance being one of the fastest growing brands with Neighborly, and there's really a few reasons why. We've already touched on the essential service. I'll cover that at the end of what I'm saying. But first of all, our biggest competitor is not doing so well. I guess I can mention that name. It's public knowledge by what's happening out there. But our biggest competitor is Sears, and obviously they've got a world of problems right now. And so we are picking up their business, we're picking up their technicians, and there's even executives leaving Sears because they don't know what tomorrow holds for them and becoming Mr. Appliance owners. Right now we're at 11 and counting of management level people that are now open with Mr. Appliance locations. And right now, almost 50% of the new appliances break down in the first 3 years. Now, that's terrible news for you and I, Todd, as consumers, but great news if you have a service company. And so what that looks like, you got 6 to 8 major household appliances in most North American residents, almost 50% of them breaking down. That means the numbers, if you run them, it's got one appliance in each home today probably has something that needs to be looked at. And so it's a needed service. People need us. And right now we're almost at desperation level with people needing us. I've got one owner that's here in Texas in a small, medium-sized town called Tyler, Texas, to give you an idea. And he's got 9 technicians, and each of them have 8 calls a day, and they're booked out 2 weeks. And of course, as far as owners getting in business with us and what their role is, I mentioned 85% of our owners come from other industries. We've got accountants, IT people, marketing people, you name it. We've got from the medical field, we've got people from all industries that have embraced this because it's a needed service. It's an executive business model. Basically, those that step into an ownership role with Mr. Appliance, we're going to train them on how to run a profitable business with Mr. Appliance. And therefore, they would be trained on that aspect. And of course, they're managing technicians that in turn are going out and making them revenues.
So, Gary, let's say that I'm an executive for a Fortune 500 company. Maybe I'm number 2, number 3 in the company, and I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm just tired of what I'm doing. I want to do something else, or I'm one of those many executives who's been laid off. Maybe I've got a good package, but I'm not ready to retire. I've never picked up a wrench in my entire life. I just push a button. So if I want to go into Mr. Appliance, will Mr. Appliance teach me what I need to know to run the business?
Todd, actually, you sound like just the people that I talk to each and every day. And so 85% of our owners, as I mentioned earlier, are from other industries, other backgrounds, and they're looking to just take control of their own destiny. And really, again, I'm going to do a little poetic justice. They're looking for an Amazon-proof business, a recession-proof, and a crisis-proof business, which Mr. Appliance fulfills all 3 of those today in our rapidly changing marketplace. The service industry has been steady steady growth. The Neighborly brands is well over $2.3 billion in system-wide sales, and we feel we're just scratching the surface with the needs in the homeowners and the businesses out there today. And so what we would do is if you have a passion about Mr. Appliance and we get in business together, or anyone gets in business with Mr. Appliance, we're going to train that owner on the executive side of the business. There are 20 different business systems, and within the 20 different business systems, there is a recruiting system, a marketing system, a support system, a discount system, because we have over 200 preferred vendors. We'll get to that shortly. We have a software that's our proprietary software that is the nervous system of the business. And by the way, from your home office or from any home office, one of our owners can run the business. We've got 3 websites that they can run the business with. And so as long as their home zip code is in their owned territory, they can run the business from their home, and which obviously cuts the cost and enhances the profitability of the business as well. So that's how that would work. Our recruiting system, we are going to help you to recruit experienced technicians, and then you can also home grow your own technicians. And what I mean by that is we have an affiliate that does technical training online. We also have 2 back office resources of technical support that literally there are an abundance of videos that a technician, or even yourself as the owner, just getting a 10,000-foot view of what's going on in the field, can watch a 3 to 5 minute video, see what's happening, and it will tell you, the owner, what kind of part is needed to do the repair. It will tell the technician all the details, how to disassemble, how to repair it, what parts needed, how to reassemble. So again, covering all ends of the business. And of course, there's already a great need in the marketplace. It's not, you don't have to be a superstar salesman to run a Mr. Appliance. Some businesses, as you well know, as you mentioned, the vast amount of businesses that someone can jump into, some of them you have to be a superstar salesman or it doesn't work. With Mr. Appliance, it's a needed service. And so it's about networking. It's not about selling. People already need our services and just need to be aware that Mr. Appliance is in the neighborhood.
And let's talk about competition for a second in connection with that, Gary, because that's a question that I know when I talk to people, they're always wondering about. So it sounds like, number one, I hate to put it in these sort of stark terms, but you have a captive market. If my refrigerator goes, my dishwasher goes, I have to call somebody.
Right.
It sounds like if I happen to know about Mr. Appliance or someone I like from Mr. Appliance, that's who I'm going to call. And from what you said, there are only 2 national appliance repair companies. That's amazing. Mr. Appliance and Sears seems to be declining. But are there other companies out there that provide competition? And what do you tell folks who are interviewing with you about that when they ask about competition?
Okay, good question. Generally, in most marketplaces, about 10% of the companies are really true competitors for Mr. Appliance. And there's a couple of 3 reasons why. Number one is based on the buying habits of everyone in North America, including you and me, Todd. 84% of our purchases come from national brand name companies. 44% come from big boxes, and 40% come from national brand name franchises. So that means 84% chance they're going to use a Mr. Appliance or the other company you mentioned, the other national company you mentioned, as opposed to a mom and pop business or a locally run business or whatever, because that's what gives them comfort and security is a national brand name company. They know that though that business with Mr. Appliance in their backyard is locally focused, it's nationally supported, that we're behind all these over 300 business owners and they're going to be taken care of. And by the way, you probably are familiar with the Net Promoter Score. which is a ranking of how companies do with customer service, and it runs from negative 100 to positive 100. Mr. Appliance is at 84. Now, to give you an idea, Apple's at 80. I think Southwest Airlines is like 60 something, 70 something. So we have a very high score as far as trustworthiness, having an incredible customer service system, which I didn't mention earlier, but it is a very powerful system that treats the customer's home with the utmost respect, I guess is the best way to sum it up quickly. So anyway, with Mr. Appliance, we are able to out customer service, out market any company in the marketplace, and generally take market share very, very quickly. There's literally markets where our owners go into business, and I'm going to call it Chuck in a truck says, okay, I just like working on appliances. I really hate the business side. Why don't I just come and be a technician for Mr. Appliance? I can make more money working for Mr. Appliance than owning my own business as a Chuck in a truck, because they don't have all the tools and they don't have all the relationships that Mr. Appliance has to do profitable work.
And I think that all really good national franchises have an advantage for the people who buy in, just because of who they are, perhaps with supplies and that type of thing. For example, if I were a mom and pop or a Chuck in a truck with my own repair business, if I needed parts, I'd probably have to buy them on the retail market, right? And I may always have time to answer the phone or be able to employ somebody to answer the phone. So just so somebody can visualize it, can you kind of compare the advantages that I might have as a franchise owner with Mr. Appliance versus I went into the market on my own?
That's good. So number one, with Mr. Appliance, just our representation in the marketplace is very heavy out there. All of our owners will have their own local website with their local phone number, and the customer can actually book the appointment online. When the customer books online, it comes into our proprietary software. We call it Smartware, and it will send an email to the customer with a picture of the technician, letting them know who's going to be entering their home, as obviously everybody wants to know who's coming into their home or business. 20 minutes before the technician arrives, they will receive a text with that same picture. Again, most small businesses don't have the technology power that we have. Also, we have all the other neighborly brands. And from the marketing aspect, if someone goes in business with Mr. Appliance, or when someone goes in business with Mr. Appliance, then 30 days after they open, there's an email blast to every one of the customers of our other neighborly brands in the marketplace. So let's just say, we'll just make up a number. There's 5,000 customers that have done business with multiple neighborly brand companies out there servicing their home or business. Well, 30 days after you as a Mr. Appliance owner or anyone as a Mr. Appliance opens their business, there's an email blast saying, here's where you will get your appliances repaired. They like doing business with, say, a Mr. Rooter. They're going to love doing business with your Mr. Appliance. It's a huge connection. And of course, our owners also get the getneighborlywebsite.com, and appliance repair just happens to be with an A. So it's at the top of the list, which we always like at Mr. Appliance. And so that's another avenue of technology that the small mom and pop businesses don't have. As far as the relationships we have a lot of relationships with national companies. We have some national accounts. Every area of our business has a documented, duplicatable, repeatable system that the owners follow. And we've been doing it for years. We know what makes a business successful, and our owners lean on each other. We have a network of owners that's huge as far as communicating the power of the brand out there. But I think the customer's already leaning toward a national brand name company for comfort and security. And then when we throw in there our customer service, the technology that lets them know that we're coming via email, via text. I mean, just the smaller business owners, they can't compete. I know people can get technology from several different places, but just the strength of what we do is so much superior, and we're taking market share when we come into a marketplace. One of the things you mentioned is contacting the businesses. If you have, we'll use the term that you and I are throwing around, Chuck in a truck, and he's the technician out there. Generally, his cell phone is in his pocket. If he's on a job, he's not answering it. And if you and I are customers calling him, it's going to go to his voicemail. We're saying next. We're saying next. Mr.
Right.
Appliance has 24/7 answering of those service calls because we're a society that doesn't sleep. So
So does that mean that if somebody calls and let's say I'm the owner of the business, but I can't actually get to the call and this person didn't come through the web, they're actually calling on the phone, the call will be routed, say, to a central calling area somewhere and a human being answers the phone?
yes, we have 3 call centers that will handle the calls after hours and such for the owners.
And what about parts and equipment? Does Mr. Appliance provide that? And does Mr. Appliance make any money on the equipment and parts that people use to run the business?
Okay, so we have over 200 preferred vendors in our arsenal that Mr. Appliance and the other neighborly brands use. We call this division of our company Pro Trade Net, and they're constantly leveraging our over 4,000 owners with all of our brands to get the individual locations with Mr. Appliance discounts on such things as parts, gasoline, cell phone usage, vehicles, insurance, anything you could use on the technical side or the executive side of the business, which is huge. You know, as they say, a dollar saved is a dollar earned. And so we had the discounts either are straight discounts, discounts and rebates, or special services. Our largest recipient of rebates through the division of our company called Pro Trade Net, and everyone that is a part of Neighborly is automatically enrolled in that. There's not a charge to be enrolled in that. The largest recipient of rebates last year received a rebate check for $166,000 just for buying what they were using every single day, taking care of their customers' needs. So that's huge. And again, it's the things they use every day. Now, one disclaimer, you don't have to use any of these preferred vendors if you don't want to. But definitely with a rebate check that size may be worth exploring, right? And so that's big. And the couple of things I've mentioned that a small business owner can't get, instant customers, like we're providing the instant customers of all the other brands, and these deep discounts from being a part of a much larger company. That is very incredible today, especially when you're needing customers immediately and you want to save money on everything you purchase. So.
Great, Gary, thank you. And can you tell us a little bit about what the day-to-day responsibilities of a Mr. Appliance franchise owner are? Obviously, let's go back to what I said before. I'm an executive in some company, maybe HR or something, so I don't really know anything about appliances or how to fix them. So what's my role? Am I actually ever going to be going out in the field and opening up the back of a dryer, or how does the business sort of operate in sort of concrete terms?
Yes, so you're not going to go out unless you just want to. You're not going to go out and actually repair an appliance. You may ride with your techs and make sure they're practicing the customer service principles because that creates value. And when a technician goes into a home, obviously that customer service system, it builds trust. And so once they, let's say, repair a washer, and then they finish that and they say, hey, may I do a free dryer vent inspection, or may I look at any other of your appliances that you may not be satisfied with how they're working? Well, obviously they've created the value, they've created the trust. And so therefore it's going to be, yes, please look at my refrigerator, or yes, please look at the back of my dryer and see how much lint is there or whatnot. So again, creating that trust with the customer service system that we provide is going to generate more business. It all works hand in hand. All the pieces of the system work hand in hand.
So, so what you're saying, Gary, is that if I'm a franchise owner of Mr. Appliance, I don't really fix the things myself. It sounds like I'm more of a CEO, kind of using the various systems that kind of almost the business in the box that the franchise provides, whether it's the software to take the customer orders and invoice, or the payroll, or the websites you create, the marketing systems, all of that kind of thing. So if I'm, Joe Jones, okay, and I'm a Mr. Appliance owner then, so day to day, what are the kinds of other things I'd be doing? You mentioned for quality control, if I care about keeping that reputation with customers as high as it already is for Mr. Appliance, sure. I'd probably ride with my technicians from time to time to make sure they're doing the right job. Maybe, do a little customer relations type stuff. But other than that, what are the other types of things that an owner is typically going to be doing to run his or her business?
Okay, good question. So, kind of a day in the life snapshot, I guess, is kind of what we want to throw out there. So, in the morning, the owner is getting the troops out. He's getting the technicians out there. He's making sure they have everything they need to do what we call as many first call completions as possible, because a completed job is money in the bank. And again, our business is very focused on being a high cash flow business. And as you know, Todd, that is critical to being successful today. The lower the AR, the better. You want cash flow. And so that's what our business is focused on. Once the troops are out, obviously every business has this challenge or that challenge, just keeping the flow of business going. So that's just a part of it. But basically the owner would focus on the over 90 different ways to plug into instant business. And then at the end of the day, on our proprietary software, he is going to do the routing system. The routing system literally takes about 60 seconds to 2 minutes, and it'll take all the service calls for tomorrow, and it will literally put the technicians on a route where they're in the homes and the businesses more and on the roads less, so they can be generating more money as opposed to being stuck in traffic. And so that is powerful, and that's something that is definitely proprietary to the Mr. Appliance software. Again, most of our businesses are open Monday through Friday. That's the standard. Our owners do like their weekends. We do have some of the owners that will just have a part-time tech run service calls on Saturday. Some will open just Saturday morning, but that's strictly their choice. Ours is Monday through Friday type business. And our owners value that our business is not a 24/7 or whatnot business. And so anyway.
Thank you. And it sounds like we haven't talked explicitly about it, but a new owner of a Mr. Appliance is going to have a vehicle. And so can you tell me, where does he or she get the vehicle? Is it branded? And how many do you recommend that someone start with? And how many techs or repair people are in each vehicle?
Okay. We don't have necessarily a cookie cutter standard of what make or model the vehicle has to be. They can do a used vehicle if it's in good condition. Obviously, they're going to put a wrap on it. They can do a new vehicle or a leased vehicle through our Pro TradeNet vendors. And to give you an idea, one of the things that the lease companies must provide is unlimited mileage. If they're going to play in our ballpark, that's what they're going to provide. And one company, for example, $600 down, they deliver it to the owner's front door, wrapped with the shelving ready to go, and it's $402 to $450 to $500 a month for the payment thereafter. So again, that's just one snapshot of how that works. If they buy, let's say, a used vehicle, then obviously we've got our preferred vendors that do the wraps. We'll send it to a installer of the wrap near them, so they take the vehicle, leave it for a day, and it'll be ready generally same day. So
Great. And what we hear a lot, and what people who are investigating franchises will hear a lot in the franchise world, is the word scalable. What does scalable mean, and how does that, what does it mean in terms of being a Mr. Appliance franchise owner?
okay, good question. So a couple of different things. Some of our owners want to just scale their business where they're at, because they can add technicians to service particular zones where their business is located. So that's one way. We do have multiple owners that have multiple locations. Our biggest owner, I think he's got 4 locations right now in 4 states.
So it sounds like, let's say that I start a Mr. Appliance business. I start with one, let's say I start with one vehicle, right? And one technician. But as I begin to build my business, I add other technicians and other vehicles. And if I'm working out of a home office, it sounds like I've got the infrastructure all supplied and I'm just building profitability the longer I'm in the business. Is that sort of how the business is intended to work for someone?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And your technicians, again, you want them to be doing 5 to 7 calls a day. When your first technician or second technician is at, let's just say 8 calls day one, 8 calls day two, and it's trickling into the third day, it's probably too late. I mean, another technician needs to be added. In normal times, we strive for same day, next day service. Obviously, we're not normal times, but definitely our business model. You want to keep recruiting. In fact, we have three things that we always say in training. You want to be always marketing, always recruiting, and always answering the phone with a live person. So those are 3 critical parts to stimulate consistent profitability and growth in the business.
So, Gary, you've been giving us a fantastic overview of Mr. Appliance. It's almost like someone can watch this video discussion and almost start a Mr. Appliance. But there are a few little areas I'd like to follow up on just to clarify. For
Okay.
example, we've been talking a little bit about the Neighborly brand, the umbrella brand that has a lot of different companies, all relate to the house and a person's home. And it sounds like these brands operate together and sort of refer each other business. And you mentioned one of them, besides Mr. Appliance, Mr. Rooter. Can you describe or just name some of the other brands as well that are in the Neighborly family, and maybe give an example of how a cross-marketing tip might work?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so Mr. Rooter, Mr. Electric, Air Serv Heating and Air Conditioning, Window Genie, Grounds Guys, Glass Doctor. Again, all in all, there's 15 brands in North America. And so in one marketplace, the owners are encouraged and do meet in their neighborly meetings to help each other with cross marketing. We have 3 of the brands, Mr. Rooter, Mr. Electric, and Air Serv. They're constantly getting asked, hey, do you guys work on appliances? Well, those technicians can be in a referral process where they actually get paid a little spiff for referring that customer to Mr. Appliance, because obviously none of those other 3 brands do appliance repair. And so they'll go to each other's meetings and see how they can work with the actual feet on the ground technicians to reward them while rewarding their own business at the same time. So that's very powerful. And then I think last but not least, we've got the getneighborly.com website. And with that website, it's one-stop shopping for the home service. They can go out, they can look plumbing, they can look appliance repair, HVAC, whatever, and they can find it, and they can go in and find the neighborly brands in their area. So you can't get that anywhere on the face of the planet today, where you're given instant customers in business, yet we provide that with the neighborly marketing initiative.
Sounds like a huge advantage, Gary. So I appreciate your explaining that. And, we started this discussion talking about the unique times that we're in with the recession caused by the COVID epidemic, and things are going to get better. But right now, let's talk about reality. It's difficult for a lot of folks right now. A lot of mom and pops in all kinds of industries are just being forced to close because they don't have the kind of support that you've described that Mr. Appliance has. Are there any other, unfortunately for us in the franchise industry, silver linings to what's going on, advantages to going into business now, as opposed to someone who says, well, I just want to sit on the fence and wait for the economy to recover?
Oh, absolutely. Well, definitely with us being an essential service, our businesses are growing very rapidly right now. And literally, we have people contacting us because they're seeing the need personally as well as professionally. And so they're contacting us. Mr. Appliance is having the best year in the history of our company. And so uh, there's no better time than now. And of course, we are going to be sensitive during this time with, what the state regulations are asking as far as mask or whatever, but it still doesn't change the need. We've always been a rapid growing brand, but this year our growth has been on steroids. It's been crazy.
And for those folks who happen to have good credit, whether or not Mr. Appliance itself provides financing, do you provide help to those people? Because I understand that with the government trying to get the economy moving again, we've probably never seen rates as low as they are, and programs from the Small Business Administration and other sources that are as favorable as they are. So is that something that you help a typical candidate who wants to be a Mr. Appliance franchise owner with?
Absolutely. And I know that the SBA process like the back of my hand. And then there's the other one is, obviously the concern about leaving money in the 401k bucket and wanting to get it out, but don't want to pay taxes on that money. So there's the rollover program as well. And we've got just two incredible lenders that handle each side of that. And both of them we worked with for over 20 years. I've been here for over 15 years and have very good relationships with both of those, and know that they do a fantastic job. With the avenues that we have today, if someone wants to get in business for themselves, there's an avenue to make it happen. I mean, you mentioned obviously having good credit. That's, having taken care of their financial situation. But definitely, if someone wants to get in business with us here at Neighborly, there's an avenue to make it happen.
This is all very exciting stuff, Gary, and it's been great. And so I think this is a good time now to bring everything together.
Okay.
So if there are any concluding thoughts or key points that the person watching this video, you want them to walk away with before they give you a call, can you tell us what those are?
Well, I know the big question, I'm sure you get this question, Todd, is, okay, so what does the investment look like? And so that's a biggie. And so the average investment for a Mr. Appliance franchise is about $50,000 to $55,000. And that is to obtain all the 20 different proprietary business systems with Mr. Appliance, the exclusive marketplace that we provide to them, the support, their own local website. That's a part of that, with organic SEO optimization and all those things with their marketing. Over 65% of our business is internet driven. And then, of course, obviously you want a little working capital. So most of our owners that go in business with us, they look at having about $85,000 cash, credit lines, or a combination of the two. Generally, we get you going as quickly as possible with 3 phases of training on the executive side. And then, of course, you know all of our systems. And one of the big things I think that we do is our support. We have 20 people on our staff, and we don't manufacture widgets in the backyard. All we do is support our business owners, our franchise business consultants. In Neighborly in general, we have 65 marketing people there to support and serve our owners to help them build thriving businesses with all the different avenues of marketing to stimulate business. Not to mention our over 300 owners that you know, all of our owners have their giftings and their talents as well, and all of us are rowing the boat in the same direction. We want to build Mr. Appliance as the #1 dominant brand for appliance repair in the United States, and we're well on our way, as we're now even in what we've produced each year with our biggest competitor.
So Gary, really appreciate you giving us such a complete picture of what Mr. Appliance is and why it's doing so well with consumers across the country and with people calling to become franchise owners.
Thank you, Todd, for having us. Look forward to talking with you soon.
I'd like to really thank Gary Landon for taking so much of his valuable time of such a busy, popular brand like Mr. Appliance to talk to us and explain about the business model and what a franchise owner does day to day working for Mr. Appliance. If you want more information about Mr. Appliance or any of the Neighborly brands, what I'd suggest is you contact a franchise consultant like me. They will be able to get you all the information you need and in touch with the right people. For now, this is Todd Moster from Franchise Solutions Group. Thank you so much for watching, hoping that you stay busy, productive, and healthy.